Alright, so we're going to be looking at powers and roots. This method, all these like tricks, they're going to really help you with your like non-calculator maths exams, because if you can imagine trying to figure that out properly longhand is going to take you a lot of time and a lot of effort, whereas there's a few simple tricks that can speed up the whole process. So if you've got the same number on the bottom, like it's here, and they're multiplied together, all you've got to do is you add the powers together. So in this case 3 plus 2 is 5, and similarly when you divide them you subtract them. So 6 minus 4 is 2. So they're like almost like opposites, just like they are normally. When you have a power raised by a power, you multiply them. 4 times 2 is 8. Like that. And obviously, if you're at home revising this, always just double check for yourself. X to the power of 1 is x. So anything to the power of 1 is itself. So, 100 to the power of 1 is 100. A million to the power of 1 is a million. And that's just because it's like a million multiplied by 1, if that helps you remember. X to the 0 is 1, and you just got to remember that one. And then 1 to the x is also 1. So anything to the power of anything is always 1, because if it's 1 to the 100, all that means is 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So it will always equal 1. When you have something in a fraction to a power, the power affects both numbers. So you can rewrite it like this. And we can even take that further and simplify it, because we know 3 to the power of 3 is 27, because 3 times 3 is 9, and then 9 times 3 is 27. And 5 to the power of 3 is 125. So I hope you can see that you can do some quite complicated maths quite easily when you start to know these rules. Alright, we'll do some examples now. Multiply, that means you just add the top numbers together. So that's 10. This one is a bit of a curveball, it's a bit more tricky. You just got to remember that the square root of 5 is exactly the same as 5 to the power of a half. So when you know that, you have 5 to the half times 5 squared. You just add them up like you know how to. So 5 to the power of 2.5. Sweet. Divide is minus. So 4 minus 2 is 4 squared. Same again, but this time the 5 doesn't have a power, but what that means is it's just 5 to the power of 1, and you just treat it exactly the same. So it'd be 4 minus 1, and you know that 5 to the 1 is 5 because it makes sense, but it's also one of the rules up here. If something to the power of 1 is just itself, so you can remember it either way. 3 squared, all to the power of 4. You multiply two numbers together, 2 to the power of 8. Same again, 6 to the power of 25. Y to the power of 1 equals y. Z to the power of 1 equals z. Whatever to the power of 1 is whatever. Alright, so y to the 0 equals 1. Z to the 0 equals 1. 1 to the x is also 1, and 1 to the 100 is 1. Sometimes in exams they'll have a bunch of multiple choice questions, and they'll always chuck some of these in there. So they're simple marks to get. Now on the fractions, squared affects both numbers, so it's 2 squared over 5 squared, and we can rewrite that as 4 over 25. Same again on the bottom, 1 to the power of 3 over 3 to the power of 3 equals 1 on top, because 1 times 1 times 1 is still 1, and 9 on the bottom. Alright guys, so these are some of the basic rules. Like, all you got to know basically how to do is add and subtract. You just have to know what applies to what, and this is really crucial for maths. It's going to help you simplify these things, and yeah, it's important. I'm going to be doing a video like this every day about based on the GCSE, what you got to know. So if you're down to learn some more maths, or for your exams, or for your own personal growth, or whatever it is, please subscribe.